full-service aquatics. And, like
You guys hear him?
No. Guard over.
And here's Mike.
there we go. I'm the owner of Full Service Aquatics, and we're a pond and water garden company in central New Jersey. And like Mark said, I started in 1995. And actually, March 25th, Full Service Aquatics will be turning 19 years old this year. So, still glad to be around. We've transitioned a little bit. We did start off with fish tanks and just anything having to do with fish, and eventually just transformed into ponds and water gardens, which is really preferable for me. That's really where my heart is at, and I just fell in love with that and rolled with it. So that's kind of where we're at as far as the business. I was asked here today to talk about social media and content marketing to help to grow your business. And
Mark, turn the mic off back here. I think that may be an issue.
you still here okay?
It's a good idea.
I don't really consider myself an expert in any of this stuff, but I use a lot of it for my business, and I just want to share with you guys what I do to give you an idea of maybe things that you could do for your business. And I'll let you guys know what has worked for me, what doesn't work for me, and any way I can help you guys in that way, I'm happy to do so. And I think the most important thing, in my opinion, with social marketing and content production for your business is everything needs to go to your website. So I think that should be the hub of all your content production and your social media efforts. Everything's got to come back to roost at your website. I think that's the most important tool that you can use in all of this social media stuff. When I hear social media and all these new buzzwords that come out, for me it's a little intimidating, so I usually just try to define exactly what these things are. So social media is not really a really new term, but it's also something that's always kind of changing too. So a social basically is just a gathering of like-minded people. It's where people are getting together to share a message or share an idea with each other. And a medium is just a way to get that message across. So it's just a delivery of your message, delivery of your content to the people who you're trying to engage. So that's the medium, and media is just a plural of medium. There's medium. If you guys take anything away from this, don't do psychic marketing. If you guys want to write that down. So social media is basically an informal way to broadcast your content and message to masses of like-minded people. So our like-minded people are going to be, customers who are interested in having what we can offer to them. And we have something really special to offer people. Social media has been around a really long time. The most familiar one to us would be TV. That's a very powerful platform. We can even utilize some of that stuff with these shows that are coming out, but that's our most familiar one. But it goes back 150 years. You had radio, movies, newspapers. That's the way people were getting their content across. That was the social media of the time. And before that, the printing press was probably the major lead in social media and content distribution, which came out in the 1400s. For thousands of years before that, everything was handwritten and passed along that way. And the social media was basically holy books. So that's what you had prior to that. But it goes even deeper. The campfire is probably the most primal form of social media and content distribution. The fire was kind of like the call to action. The social part was sharing the warmth and food around the fire, and the content were the stories and lessons that were passed down and learned around that. And it's pretty much exactly what's happening today. The internet is kind of like our campfire for the global community. That's where we're all getting together to share our ideas and to present our content to potential customers or whoever is interested in it. using social media of some type. Big companies, airlines, food chains, people who have messages that they need to get out to mass audiences. Even the government uses social media. So if you have a message that you need to get out to masses, social media is the way to do it. And these different platforms can offer you a way to do that. And if you have a message, a product or a service with mass appeal, social media can definitely work for you. It can drive sales, it can build revenue for you, but it's not going to do anything for you unless you create content and get it out there. So these social media platforms are the way for you to do it. And I think for us, we have pretty much an undeniable message of mass appeal. And you're also going to be driving people to your website by getting all this stuff out. And our message is that we build amazing and beautiful water features. We enhance people's living areas. We improve their quality of life. We create experiences for them as well. And that is a message of mass appeal. So you guys have to be social to get, I think, more business coming in for any of us. And why is social media important to you? Basically, it's going to create traffic to your website. And that's really, really important. And the idea for any successful campaign in this way, I guess for any business, success is your location. Location, location, location is what makes any business work. And for a successful location, you need a lot of traffic. And these are the type of platforms that are going to give you that kind of traffic. So just real quick, I'll go through some of them. And these numbers, I'm telling you today, they could even be old by now. But Facebook has about 1.2 billion monthly users, 2.7 billion likes every single day. Over 50% of North America uses Facebook. That's a lot of people that we could get our message out to. And the mobile use on all of these platforms is really important to consider too. When everybody's going mobile, there's probably about 700 million mobile users as well. YouTube's a biggie. YouTube is a search engine. We know it from videos, but it's a search engine too. A lot of people go there to research all sorts of stuff and to find products and services that they're interested in. So for you guys to be on YouTube would be a really good idea. They have about 1 billion monthly users. 800 million daily users, and 30% of those people are within the United States. So that's a good location for you guys to be on. Twitter has about 100 million users each month with 1.6 billion search engine queries every single day. Again, tons of traffic. And Google has about 1.25 billion unique users per month. It's the dominant search engine in North America, and with about a 65% market share on search engine queries. So you guys you got to show up on Google. So you need to have content to be able to do that. And of course, optimization and user counts keep growing. And mobile use has, I think, tripled since 2011. So mobile is something that everybody is going to want to consider being a part of as well. And these are they're massive, massive traffic numbers. So they're going to make a good location for us to put our stuff onto. And it has the potential to drive interested people to your interested audiences to your website. It's not just kind of by chance that people are showing up. They're seeing something, they like it, they're going to go to your website, which is going to increase your chances of making a sale. Marketing for my business, a lot of it takes place on this, but it's been a constantly changing endeavor since the day I began. I'm sure it's that way for you guys too. Like I said, I started off in 1995 and basically started off with a business card. And I was pretty proud of that, pretty happy about that. I felt like I was in business. I had a business card, I got some letterhead, and I felt like I was all set up. What more do you need to do? I'm going to be a big success. But of course, that changes. Back in those days, a business card was actually pretty powerful. And it still is today. It's still something that should be used. And then I got into putting magnets on my truck and getting company t-shirts and stuff like that to kind of expand my presence. So it it was always growing. Eventually, I got into the yellow pages, which, again, at that time was very, very powerful, and then I got out of that pretty quick, too. I got into home shows, and soon after that, when I started home shows, everybody wanted to see the website. I didn't have a website, so I created a web page in 2005, and then soon after that, I did my own a website, which I've rebuilt 3 times since, and I'm ready to rebuild it again because BJ screwed up my whole head.
You're welcome.
I did not. Dave asked me if I built my own website. I provided all the content, everything that you see, the photos, all the text, the pictures, everything like that. I'm actually on a WordPress, which I like BJ was kind of giving the contrast between WordPress and an image-oriented website, which we are image-oriented, so I mean that probably is a better way to go, but I started this a few years ago. I work on WordPress, which does allow me to get in the back door of my website and make changes and updates and all that kind of stuff. So it allows me to keep it relevant. Even if it's just getting a new picture up every once in a while, it refreshes my website. Social media, for me, takes place across a variety of different platforms. There's new ones opening up every day, all the time. Other ones becoming irrelevant every day, all the time. Even though it's just such new stuff that it seems like it's been around for a while, but not necessarily. So on Facebook, I have 3 pages on Facebook. I have my full-service aquatics page, which of course is meant for my business, and I use it as a way to get my content out there, get messages across, and communicate in real time with my customers. So if we're having like extreme weather, we've had a lot of extreme weather this year, I can put out there, hey, check on your pond, make sure your aerator's working, your de-icer's working, and it's all real-time kind of stuff with real communication that can help people. For me, unfortunately, my customers don't use my Facebook page that much. I really try to get them to. The 339 people who like my page, I would say most of those are not customers. Probably about 75% of them are not. But I still utilize it in a way that I'm speaking to my customers with this particular page. I have the Pond Hunter page, which is basically a way to cross-market my YouTube page. I have a Pond Hunter YouTube page where I do pond water garden videos. So this is just a way to kind of get a little traffic going back and forth between Facebook and YouTube. And the only stuff I'm posting on here are videos of different projects and photo albums of different projects. I update it whenever I can. I post on Facebook every day. Between one of these, I'm posting on that. But the Pond Hunter, when I have stuff, I'll put it up. So it might be once a week, and just to keep it fresh, every once in a while I'll recycle some old stuff too. So I take projects I did from years ago and just put them up there, just to keep things kind of moving along with that page. I have the Love Your Pond page, which really is just, there's no agenda to it. I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't talk about my business. I don't endorse anything. It's just for the heck of it, really. And I just post pond-related stuff. That's it. It's not meant to necessarily do anything for my business. It's like a tearaway calendar that you have on your desktop. Each day you get a joke of the day, well, this is the pond thing of the day, whatever it is. So I just do that kind of for fun. But I think it actually helps maybe everybody in a way because it just increases awareness and gets an interest from people on Facebook. And the more interest we can generate, the better it is for all of us, of course. On YouTube, I have my Pond Hunter YouTube page. And I use this page to promote the videos and for my business, of course. It's all pond and water garden projects. I have about 50 videos up there, from 6 to 10 minutes long. And I'm going to talk about you guys do videos too. You don't have to go this long. I go a little bit overboard. Videos can be really quick and still very, very effective. So that's what I'm doing with this one. And I have about 2,000 subscribers to it, and I'm closing in at about 1.4 million views. So for just a small guy like myself putting out videos, it's not too bad. It's a pretty powerful tool for my business, for sure. I've gotten a lot of work from this. So I would definitely recommend YouTube. Twitter, I use. I don't really put a lot of thought behind it. It basically is just used to create SEO for my business, to get stuff out there and to create traffic back and forth. So I tweet every day, but I don't even really think about it because some of the stuff I'll post on Facebook and it generates a tweet. So I'm doing it without really needing to be like, oh, I'm going to tweet something today. I really don't use it to try to get sales. I use it to increase search engine optimization for my website, which I want to be the beneficiary of all these different things that I'm doing. Another social media thing I do is a monthly newsletter. Obviously, it comes out once a month, doesn't take too long to do, but I email it to my customers or whoever actually subscribes to it. I think I have 330 subscribers to my newsletter, and I would say maybe 30% of those are actually customers. So some people just like reading stuff that I'm putting out there, but it's stuff that the business did that month that we're going to do in the next month. Really, truly a newsletter. But again, it just helps get the word out there, helps create content, helps create traffic and search engine optimization for my business. I also do blog. I have the Love Your Pond blog. Does anybody read that at all? Okay. I don't even know how many people read it, so I'm glad you two do.
3.
I do know it gets read probably around the world because I get feedback from around the world on it. But I have no way to measure it. But I know it's great for search engine optimization to do blog. Google loves blogs. And when I post a blog, it's up on front page within days. It's very, very fast. Some of the blogs, I can see individual blogs, how many times they've been shared. Some of them have been shared upwards of 9,000 times. So there's people out there reading the stuff. I just don't know who, and I really don't know exactly how many. But it helps the website, and that's really important. I also post on a whole bunch of what I just call second-tier sites, and those are like registries where you just go and you list your business, you get your name, your website, your phone number, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of places to go and just register your business and get your name out there, and it's just more points of contact. Maybe nobody will ever see it, but I'm talking about sites like Yelp, Merchant Circle, those kind of things, or just registries. But I do think they're effective to get your content out and to help with SEO on your website as well. Sorry? Yeah, I do. I have a list that I'm coming up on just a little bit. Everything I do is networked into each other. So if I do a YouTube post, it shows up on Facebook, which generates a post on LinkedIn, which creates a tweet, which goes back to the Twitter feed on my website. So it really is kind of like a web. And like I said, some of these things I don't have to consciously do a tweet or something like that. They just kind of, you can link things up where you can do one thing, but it's going to benefit each platform that you're on.
Your 3 different Facebook pages, the one for the business, the Pond Hunter, and then Love Your Pond. So are they all 3 linked together?
No.
Is there any? So there's no correlation.
I share in between them, but they're not linked in the sense that if I put something on the Love Your Pond page, it appears on the other ones.
But what I'm saying is, can people, if they go on Love Your Pond, can they automatically know this is a full-service aquatics company?
Yes. Yep. Because it has like pages along the side, so you can kind of click on those. And it's not very obvious, but it is all linked up in that way.
You can't do that though, Mike, just for
What's that?
you can't just put links in your About section. The About section on your Facebook pages are really important, and any links or text or information you put in the About section, Google reads, and people do look at and see, put it for all your websites and everything.
Because you have more followers on Love Your Pond than you do on your business page.
A lot.
So I would think you would look the opposite, so that you have more traffic driving to your business page per se.
Yeah. The business page, it's probably not the best strategy, but I want my customers, like the people I'm cleaning ponds for, to get town page are people just from everywhere. People I'll never do business with, you know? So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to just keep my full-service product page to that.
Mike,
Yes.
I'm learning a lot, right, at work and from listening to you, but at Aquascape, we do very lot of the same things, like we have so many Facebook pages, even us internally, we're like, what's that one for, and what's that one for, and who's our audience, and, but all of it, everything that the marketing team does drives back to the website.
Yeah.
And so, was that Tara talking? Who was talking?
Yes.
Yeah, for us, one page this, one page that, and how they link together, because I used to think, shouldn't we be, but it all has to do with driving traffic right back to your website, which is where everything about your business, like that's where you want people landing.
Yeah. It's got to be the hub of everything you do.
Yeah.
I don't know, how much time do you spend in the week or a day on all this stuff? How much time is dedicated to just this stuff?
I'm definitely on Facebook like an hour a day. It's not an hour straight, like I pop on, pop off, get on my phone, you know, so it's, but I would say it's an hour cumulatively. The other stuff, not too long, you know. I'm actually going to give you a rundown on each one and like how long it takes me to do those different things.
I think that's the most daunting thing for most people is how much time is going to take. Like,
Yeah.
we all want to do it, I'm sure, but it's like, just, that's a lot of information. Like, listen to BJ, your head to hop off.
Totally screwed up.
It's a lot of information, you know, and then just trying to break it down and how much time we really should be spending. Not that we're all going to do everything, but
Yeah.
maybe this is the most important thing we should be doing or something.
Probably the bulk of the time is just getting set up. Setting up your page, you know, updating, refreshing, posting, that's quickie stuff, you know, but creating your content too. You always got to be creating content. So on that note, I wanted to talk about just two examples of some people who I think are content monsters, great at marketing, and I'm sure you guys know this guy, Greg Woodstock, the pond guy. So you all know he's head of Aquascape. Of course, Aquascape is a great company full of very talented, professional, dedicated people, and they just are monsters of content. Aquascape has put out books, magazines, flyers, brochures, videos, photos, short films, clothing line, online training, webinars, websites. If you name it's done it. So they're killing it in that sense, and they wouldn't be who they are if they weren't doing those kind of things. And now a reality show. This is huge, I think. I think it's going to be a big success. It's a national television platform, broadcast to millions and millions of people. So I think for all of us, this can help every single one of us here in this room, no matter how we're working within the pond industry. So it's going to be great content for us to share and get out there. Share it so you guys can benefit from it. It's going to be, I think, just something amazing. When you think about what these shows do for companies, it really is incredible. These guys are a good example. So Tank, ATM was a successful company, is a successful company, but since getting their TV show, they've gone from a company of 12 people to about a company of 75 people. And they're doing about $20 million a year in sales, and they weren't doing that 3 years ago. They weren't doing that 3-4 years ago before that. So they can have really major impacts on companies and an industry. The awareness of the aquarium industry. I mean, I wish these guys were around 20 years ago when I was starting. Would have been great, but they weren't. But they can do a lot, and everybody knows these guys too. I mean, because of their television platform, they're killing it. They sell phone calls, but these guys are absolutely killing it. They're a household name now. So if these kind of guys can do it, you know that Brian and Greg are going to do it too. They're hilarious just on their own, but put into a TV platform of this type and with the right marketing and the right professionals behind them, I really think it'll be a really great thing. So, and it's just going to help the industry in general. I did an age progression on Woodstock because I had a little bit of time. So I gave him a 10-year age progression. You guys want to see it? 10 years later. That's what came out. You guys may know this is Jerry Garcia, another guy who's near and dear to my heart. I have an hour to fill, so bear with me on this. So Jerry was the head of the Grateful Dead, and they were, a pretty iconic rock band. And I think for most people, what they bring to mind are hippies and drugs and music and counterculture, but they were kind of a phenomenon. In many ways, including what we're talking about today, content production and social media. These guys were early pioneers of this kind of approach to selling your business and getting things going. And they were massively successful at it. And my being involved with both the Dead and Aquascape, I see a lot of parallels. And it's very interesting the way their different marketing approaches are so similar to each other too. The Dead were the most popular touring act in rock history. They did 2,300 live concerts while they were still playing together. They created their own genre of music. They even created new technology, which Aquascape creates new technology to get their audience involved. These guys did it to deliver their media. They had a really powerful fan network for their customer base. They sold out pretty much everywhere they went, resulting in hundreds of millions of dollars in ticket and concert sales. And they created a really highly profitable corporation along the way while they're doing all this. Having a lot of fun, just like Aquascape does it too, just like we're trying to do on a minor scale with our businesses. They became one of the most elite and iconic rock bands of all time, with a fan base that's still growing today. And they did all of this without ever having a hit record, ever having a #1 song. Don't get on air with radio play. They didn't have on-air concert announcements. They did it all through content production, which was really smart of them. They had an amazing business model, very similar to Aquascape. And their approaches are used across a wide spectrum of all these different businesses today, and very successfully used. How did they do it? They had great content. Their music, the photos, everything that went along with that. They had social media distribution, tremendous amount of inbound marketing. They had excellent customer service, and they created an excellent customer experience, which is all that we strive to do as well. Those concerts done right? The band actually allowed and encouraged taping, filming, photographs of their shows, which is content. And then you could go home and have a tape of it and give it to your friends. So content distribution was amazing. One show just created an incredible amount of concert content, and they were doing this all the time. They allowed merchandise sales in their parking lots. There's a whole vendor section, and it was like a hive of entrepreneurs. You wouldn't think so, looking at some of the people, but they were entrepreneurs, and they were pretty amazing. A lot of these guys actually did pretty good for themselves. Is it hot? Behind that wheel well.
Did the pot help Aquascapes too?
They allow the use of their logos. So a kid could go home and make a poster, print 100 of them, go to the show and sell them that night, make money, and spread their content out, which again created a desire to people to go and see these guys. So giving away their content was bringing in tons of inbound marketing, which created a really successful sales model, again, without trying to do it the way other bands did, selling concert tickets and selling albums. They just kind of bucked the way it was typically done. They offered excellent customer service. They created early database marketing, getting mailing lists together, very similar to what we do. I mean, everybody out here is mailing stuff out to their customers right now for your spring cleanouts, for your winterizations, all that kind of stuff. So a mailing list is really important. They had a massive mailing list. They would sell their tickets direct to people, which gave them lower prices, better seating, preferred venues, all that kind of stuff. So they really kind of took care of everybody. They had regular and reliable tour schedules that were laid out so fans could drive from show to show. So they really made sure that they were bringing people in with them never the same show twice, that extended sets of music with an intermission, because that was their thing. It was the concert experience. Amazing light show and sound system, better than any in the industry. They spent more money than anybody in putting together a great experience for the customers. And they toured all over America, all over the world, kept people engaged. They were the Aquascape, they were the Nordstroms of the concert experience, and were massively successful on the way to doing that. So it's a very similar culture in a lot of ways, and a lot of parallels to how Aquascape kind of approaches us. So I find that very interesting. It was just some interesting parallels that I saw. I did another progression too. So if Jerry Garcia lost 100 pounds, boom. So Greg Woodstock is the Jerry Garcia of the pond industry. So today's content is changing, but a lot of the traditional stuff that we've always used is still relevant, but content now is king. So we've always been using the traditional things: business cards, flyers, brochures, t-shirts, keychains, pens, all the stuff you give away at the home shows and all that. That's kind of your traditional content. But what's your content? What's your media? What's your brand? How are you making people aware of what you do? If you want to make it easy for yourselves now, start creating really good content. So content these days are photo, video, TV, audio, and your website, of course, is going to be your best example of your content and where you want to have all that stuff so people are coming to see it. Why is it so important? Because it creates inbound marketing, inbound traffic to your website. And search engine optimization is a really nice side effect of constantly getting new content out there on your website. If you have search engine optimization, Google, Yahoo, Bing, YouTube, they're going to like you, and they're going to show you when people go and do searches. They're going to find you a lot easier. So how do you create content? Anybody who has a smartphone is ready to become a content monster. You can do photo, video, audio, text. There's 1,000 apps. You guys can post on the run any time of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Content doesn't really have any boundaries these days. And it's really easy to get things from your phone right onto Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you want to do. So anybody who has this stuff, you can do it. And content really can be, almost anything. What's your content be? What are you doing? What are you doing now? You could tweet or take a photo or something, tell people where you are, what you're doing. Your customers are going to care about that. Mundane things to us, rolling out liner, rolling out underlayment, it's probably one of the more boring parts of the job. But to the customer, this is pretty fascinating stuff. To see a liner going, it's kind of cool. I mean, we might be over it, but that's a cool picture for customers to see. That's not such a bad piece of content to get onto your Facebook page, something like that. So your content should be great photos, quick videos. It should be things that are relevant to your business. Write a blog. Keep it simple. You can write a blog about your favorite pond pump, your favorite plant, your favorite type of koi. So it doesn't need to be anything major or big and drawn out. But I think to get a big, broad spread of all these different types of content is going to give you a lot of places to put it, and it's going to give you just a wider net to kind of catch those customers that we all really want to have. We're very specialized in what we do, so we need to get our stuff out there to create that awareness. Not just for everybody, but for our individual companies as well. So once you've started amassing all this stuff, you have photo, video, you got all this stuff. What do you do with it? Where do you bring it? Not to the heron. But that's a good one, because you can tie into current events. So on Facebook, you can put heron alert. Herons are basically active around the same time, and I tend to get a lot of phone calls at the same time from people getting bothered by herons, or when your fish are spawning, or when your iris are blooming in the springtime. It all happens around the same time. So if you're the guy posting on your Facebook page, hey, look out your window, your fish might be spawning, there's a good chance they will be. And your customer's going to go, man, that guy really knows his stuff. But it's just great stuff to put out there. And it's engaging and it's interactive. Simple stuff to do. When you have all this content, you need to bring it to market. So there's a ton of social media markets out there. There's new ones being created every single day. So if it's not something that you find today, you'll find something tomorrow that maybe you'd be comfortable with doing. But I think with markets, the way I kind of look at them, there's two different types. There's interactive markets, and then there's passive markets, or there's registry type of markets. So to me, the passive ones are, for example, Google Maps, Merchant Circle, Home Advisor, Angie's List, the online Yellow Pages, Yelp, House. Those are registries. Those are passive. There's not a lot of interaction. House has probably, if any of these, a little bit of interaction. But a lot of these are just kind of getting your stuff on there and refreshing it once in a while. Maybe once a year. That's it. But at least you're on there. Then there's the interactive ones. Of course, the big three are Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+, Instagram is a new one. I actually gave this talk last year. Instagram wasn't really a factor. Vine wasn't a factor. Has anybody heard of Vine? Okay. It's catching. It's not something that's going to drive sales for you, but they're quick 6-second videos. 6 seconds, that's all. You got 6 seconds to get your message across. But to have somebody's attention for 6 seconds in advertising is pretty good. And usually people watch these about 3, 4, 5 times in a row. You have 30 seconds of somebody's attention, and you can do something really clever in that short period of time. And they're easy to do. So it's a really easy platform for you guys to use to make a video and post. Really, really quick.
There's a website you can enter your website into, and it tells you exactly how you rate on all of these. And it gives you a to-do list. Do you know what that one is?
I don't.
I think it's called howdoirate.com or ratemywebsite.com.
What does it do?
You enter your website and it goes through and just shows you exactly how you're pulling up on everything. It gives you graphs on all those that you just showed, plus quite a few more.
Okay, maybe we can find out the exact website. That'd be interesting for I would like to see
I'll
that.
post it on the CAC Facebook page tonight.
Okay, cool. You know, you can do some, for the passive ones, some super local registries. You can do your town, you can do your county. You know, you can register your businesses on your town website, on your county's website, stuff like that. Newsletters, email blasts, constant contact, MailChimp, and then TV, and even internet radio. Streaming radio is a great place to create content. It's very easy stuff. And there's no shortage of marketplaces for you to bring in. With everything that we just looked at, there's 5 more that I didn't mention and 5 more that are being created tomorrow. So there's always somewhere to go with your material, with your content. And Flipboard is a new one. That's got a lot of buzz now. Flipboard is basically a digital magazine where you guys can put your content, like your stuff, or you can also put things that you find interesting that maybe will engage people. So Flipboard is kind of the latest and greatest. It's a really nice, it's an app. It's really nice to look at. It's easy to use. And you always need to have fresh content. So this is a great way to do it. But even with Flipboard, since putting this together, I found out, and it's probably not new news, that Facebook now has an app called Paper. And Facebook is putting out Paper to crush Flipboard. So there's always something new out there. So if you're not on these things that I'm talking about, just remember, don't feel like you're behind the 8 ball. There's always going to be something newer and better coming along. And just get on where you can and when you can and build it. You don't have to broadcast everything right away. Start with something simple and just keep expanding out from there. It's probably going to be the easiest way, if you don't have a lot of content, to start building it. And then once you are doing all that, there's some do's and don'ts. And I'll just go over a couple that I feel are important. On the do nots, I would not hire an outsider to create content or manage your social media necessarily. I think it's better that you guys do it because we know our businesses better than anybody. We know this industry and how to present it to our customers better than hiring some outsider to go and do it for you. Even if it's somebody within your company, even give your employees, your workers permission to post on Facebook. They can take pictures while they're building a pond and get that stuff up there. it's just fresh content, and you're refreshing all your things, and that's going to benefit you. Don't post and walk away from your posts. You have to follow up. If somebody comments, comment back, acknowledge them, like them. I'm rehashing some of the stuff that BJ had said because it's important. Make sure that you don't just post and walk away and ignore it. That's not really the social part of the social media. Don't take things personal. If people don't like your picture, if people don't comment on your picture, or if people are nasty to you, people get weird when they're anonymously behind a keyboard. I've gotten, especially on like YouTube, there's some pretty vicious people out there, and they'll say some really nasty stuff. But it's like, you don't get involved with it. You just kind of move on from it. So I wouldn't get entangled in any of that kind of stuff because that's what they want you to do. So don't take things personal if it's not what you were hoping to see, because you're still creating content. And that's really what matters. Don't complain, don't bitch, don't threaten, don't use vulgarity, don't use profanity in your posts. I don't think that looks good. And when a customer goes to your page and sees that you're complaining because Mr. Jones stiffed you on your $300 pump, it just doesn't look bad. And you know, nobody really cares. I hate to say it, but if I post it on my page, I don't get paid. Would you guys care? No. So it's not really worth. Try to keep your posts upbeat and positive. Don't copy, steal, or comment on your competition unless you know it's okay. Don't overpost. Don't be spammy. Don't do boring stuff like, great coffee this morning. Nobody cares. Everybody had some pretty good coffee this morning. And don't use pile-on, I just call it pile-on social marketing strategy. And I've seen this because I'm in this industry. I've seen it in our industry where when something comes along, all of us collectively tend to jump on it all at the same time. You know, it's kind of like, love Facebook. Everybody's, Pinterest. Everybody dies on Pinterest. So it's, take your time. Work with what's comfortable for you. Maybe you don't want to be on certain social media platforms. You don't feel, again, like you have to be there today. It is important, but take your time too. So, and don't neglect your website. It's very easy to get caught up in all these different platforms that you get involved with, but you've got to remember your website because that's where everything comes home to roost. Some of the do's is find your comfort zone. If Facebook isn't your thing, find somewhere else, because there's a lot of ways to get your content out there. Be authentic in who you are and what your message is and what your content is. Say what you mean what you say. If you make a mistake, correct it, own up to it, acknowledge it. Embrace diversity. You know, it's okay to comment on things. If you're a steak and potato guy, you can comment on the veggie casserole. It's okay. So if we can go and comment on cement ponds or something like that. It's okay. Just because that's not what we're doing doesn't mean you can't comment on it. It doesn't necessarily need to be negative either. There are ways to get your message out there and broadcast your company through those types of comments. Target your passionate customers. You'll see that with your posts, there's always a handful of people who like everything you do. So if you see those people in a period of time, you'll kind of notice who they are. You may not know them at all, but acknowledge them. Maybe say thank you. Maybe give them a sneak peek. You know, I'm putting this blog out next week. Do you want to see it? Let them see it before it goes out. Just makes them feel special because you know what? They're treating you special. They're looking at your stuff and they're liking it and they're sharing it. So a little give and take on that. Be consistent in your posting and the frequency of your posting. Try to post daily. It's not that big a deal. At least a few times a week. If you're posting once a week, there's really not, I hate to say it, there's really not a lot of point to doing something like that. It's not going to give you the results that you want. So if you're only doing it once a week, you may not really want to be doing it at all. So it's almost like don't bother. Although on the other hand, it's better to have something than nothing. But try to be consistent in how often you post. And give away, support your community. There's tons of different pages on Facebook, tons of different websites that are pond and water garden related. Support your community. Get out there, have an opinion, talk to people, help people. I think that's an important thing to do. And give your content away for free. There's a lot of places you can go to try to monetize blogs or videos and all that kind of stuff. That's not really what you do. I would really try to do that. Have it premium advertising. So this is a quote that I came across that I like. Giving your content away for free may sound counterintuitive, but it works. This is because each piece of content you create attracts links from other websites. These links send you traffic, and those links inform Google how important you are and move that content up in the rankings. When you give content or small pieces of your product away, it creates more interest and opens up your marketing, and each piece of content is like a mini magnet that attracts potential customers to your business. The nice thing is that content is cumulative. It doesn't go away, so you can keep adding to it all the time, and you're creating content that will continue to gain links and rank in search engines. So give your stuff away. It'll come back. You reap what you sow. Look how happy that guy is. He's giving stuff away. It's so nice. So now you're doing all this social media, all this marketing, all this free marketing. It's free to do all this stuff. You don't have to pay to be on Facebook. You don't have to pay to be on YouTube. It's all free stuff. But you know what? Time is money. So you're putting all this free stuff out there. Who's making money on doing this stuff? Are you getting a return on your investment? It takes a lot of time. So you want to make sure that you are getting paid back on those kind of things. Excuse me. So I'll tell you what I'm doing, how I'm getting a return on investment for what I do. And to the best that I can measure it. Some of this stuff is really hard to measure, where your leads are coming from, how much money you're making on what you're doing. But as far as I can measure, I'll tell you what I know. My newsletter goes out once a month. Again, 300 subscribers, probably about 30% of those are customers. It takes me less than an hour to write up a newsletter. It's very simple stuff. It's one page long. And every year, I would say my newsletter generates about 10,000, maybe a little bit more in sales. So if I'm spending an hour on it, say it's 10 hours a year that I use on my newsletters. If it generates 10,000, that's about $1,000 I'm getting back for every hour of work I put into my newsletter. So to me, that's a good return on investment. I'll take that any day. The registries, I talked about where you can go and just register your company. Those registries probably they're bringing me approximately 20,000 each year. And I spend one day this time of year during the winter time going around to the registries and just get in the office and I update them. That's all I'm doing. I'm not building anything, I'm just updating. So for one day, if I'm getting a $20,000 return, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. My Facebook, I have a collective 7,300 followers. I've been active on it for 4 years. I post every day. I spend about an hour a day on it, which really ends up being 52 days per year, or 8 weeks. I'm spending 8 weeks a year on Facebook. My Facebook revenue, as far as I can measure, has produced about $35,000 over 4 years. So that sucks for me. But I'll stay on Facebook because it's a really good platform and it still is a great way to get content. And I don't know, maybe people are coming to me from Facebook that I just can't measure. But as far as what I know came from it, that's what I can tell you about it. Twitter. 730 followers. I don't even spend an hour a week on that. It has produced 0 sales. It's not a good return on investment, but it does generate SEO. So that's a return on investment for that. LinkedIn doesn't do anything for me except give me contacts within the industry. So I'll stay on LinkedIn just to have a professional page and to be able to talk with other professionals. So the return on investment for that, actually, I don't do anything. So it's pretty good. It's nice that I get to talk to other people within the industry. YouTube, I have 2,100 subscribers. I have close to 1.4 million views. I've been doing it for 4 years. I have 50 videos that take me about 6 hours to create per video. That's 300 hours, or that's 8 weeks over 4 years. So if I average it, I'm putting about 2 weeks a year into YouTube. YouTube has generated for me over $400,000 in sales. So if you average that out, it's about $100,000 a year, and I'm putting 2 weeks into it a year. So I'm getting a $100,000 return on 2 weeks of work, and I think that's excellent. It has also generated work for pond builders in Florida, Texas, California, Maryland, Probably other areas too that I'm just not aware of, but these are people who have reached out to me and said, hey, your video helped me sell a pond. And it helps me sell ponds. People feel like they know me when I get to their house. It has made closing a lot easier. So YouTube, I think, is great for all of us. We have a visual thing that we need to sell, so creating quick little videos and to use that YouTube power is something I would highly recommend. I did a cable TV show. I did man caves. Those kind of shows, they come around. Any of us can get on them. They just happen to find my website. Cost me about $5 to do the show. It just aired in December, so I don't have anything to even measure whether it's going to help me or not. I never thought that people would look at the show and call me from the show. It's my ability to market the fact that I was on the show that'll start bringing me some return on investment. So you got to give me time on that. This only came out a few weeks ago. But I have killer content. It's great content. And it's good credibility to be able to tell somebody you're on TV, even though you're paid to do it. Hey, they don't know that. You guys know that. I did some radio. It's streaming radio. It's internet radio. I've done 2 shows. I have 2 hours of radio content. And it took me 2 hours to do it. Not a big deal. But now I have that content. And that is good content too. Getting on these shows is super easy. It's really easy. So all you basically got to do is tell them you want to be on. Chances are they're going to let you on. And you can create content. Put it on your website. As far as return on investment, I don't know. It didn't cost me anything, but it's more content for me to put out there. So social media for me so far has been a really good return on investment, but it's not my best one. My website is my best dollar for dollar return on investment because that's where I get most of my work, probably like most of you guys too. So again, the website is really where it's at. And there's numerous benefits you can get from social media apart from the dollar return on investment. You never know. You can pick up an old customer, reconnect with some family members. There's a lot of other ways for it to pay you back and enrich your life. I think it helps improve our industry. I've been able to generate awareness and interest in our products and services. I know I've put good information out there to literally millions of people. And it generates work for others. So I'm pretty happy with that. And it creates inbound traffic and search engine optimization. So there's other payback apart from just the dollar per dollar values. It's also helped me create tremendous increase in web traffic. So within a 2-year period, my website went from about 250 visits per month to 11,200 visits per month. It's pretty huge. So to me, that's a pretty huge increase. 70% of those visits come from search engines, 16% from social media, and 13% was direct traffic. So that's the latest that I have on my website. I get first page rankings on most search terms through Google. It certainly increased my revenue, and I close quicker, and I have increased brand recognition as well. And it's also helped me cross-market other services that I do as well. So I can cross-market on these things and have exposure for my other business. I've received correspondences from all over the world, which to me is interesting. I really enjoy that part of it. And I'm in contact with other pond enthusiasts. I had a kid recognize me one time at a koi show. This 14-year-old kid was like, "You pond hunter?" But I was like, "Yeah, I am." I gave him a t-shirt. And I've just had exposure to a much broader world of water gardening than I would have without this stuff. So, and I think a great part of my social media efforts had me recognized as Businessman of the Year in 2012. I think that really had a lot to do with it, as opposed to Steve, who's really the businessman and killing it and teaching all of us great stuff. And it led to my being invited to this event as well. So I want to thank Mark, Rebecca, Ryan, everybody for having me here. I'm very glad to talk to you guys. If I can help you any further with this down the road, just let me know. I got to get off soon. I just want to take one more minute. Wait, more. So I did that radio show. They came back and they offered me a radio show. So I'm going to start doing a 1-hour internet radio show every other Wednesday, 8 o'clock. I haven't officially announced it. This is the first time I'm announcing it to you guys. But it'll be good. If you guys want, it's just pond and water garden stuff. Anybody who wants to come on, talk about the business, talk about the services, talk about anything at all, I welcome you to. I ask you to. I can use the company. I'm doing this. I'm going to give it a try and see how well it goes. I have absolutely no experience in radio at all, but what the heck? I figured it's a good thing to at least try and create content. That's the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to walk away with a whole bunch of content. And who knows, maybe there'd be something better. But again, I do invite you all to come on, talk about your business, and you can also get your CAC points. There's some certification points. There's an area where you can have media appearances. So if you come on, not only can you promote your business, but you get some CAC certification as well. Okay, so I'll let you guys know when that's actually starting. It'll probably be towards the end of February. We're still kind of working out some things. But it'll be exciting. It'll be a fun thing to do. And again, it's an hour every 2 weeks on Wednesday nights. So thank you guys all again very much.